Now, for the second reason for this channel. I nor this channel are affiliated with any political, health, or religious organization. It's just me, plain Jane Doe American citizen. When I speak, I'm speaking from a standpoint of basic right and wrong. The natural gifts we were all born with, the traits our parents taught us as children. So you've got a mom and baby out for a walk, and there's a stranger coming in the other direction. So when everyone meets up, the stranger bends over and says, "Oh, coochie, 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 baby. Oh, such a beautiful baby. So sweet, so peaceful, so beautiful." And spits in the baby's face. I know, I know. It's wild, it's out there. But I know you're asking, why would anyone do such a vile and nasty thing? I hope no one. But if a person did, I hope that someone would stand up and say something. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Things happen and you just have to say something, especially when it's wrong. That's the second reason for this channel, standing up for what's right. The World Health Organization states 150 million people suffer financial tragedy because of out-of-pocket expenses on health services and are pushed into poverty every year. That's in a normal year. There was nothing normal about 2020, so it stands to reason that those numbers will definitely increase. Those suffering the brunt of the effects of the virus are the uninsured. Those dealing with COVID-related illnesses, I ask you, how are they going to be able to afford the cost of care? Side note, if you're older, like me, and you've dealt with a hospital, doctor's office, clinic, medical whatever, in the last year, check your medical records to make sure they didn't anonymously put that you said you don't want to be resuscitated. I had to have that discussion with my doctor because I want to be resuscitated every opportunity that presents itself, right? Anyway, COVID-19 ain't taking names or numbers. It doesn't care what color you are, what your political views are, or whether you believe it's real or not. It doesn't care if you went to church on Sunday or not. It doesn't care whether you're an atheist or a racist. We're all equal when we don't have primary health care. Over the last year, I've heard politicians say some pretty remarkable things that are mind-boggling to me. Quite a few politicians are saying any relief for the American people because of the pandemic is wasteful, unnecessary, and excessive. So you've got families standing in food lines because they're food poor, they've got kids to feed, and some politician is saying don't give them any food because it's wasteful, unnecessary, and excessive. You got folks getting ready to get put out of their house, been there for years, whatever. But the politicians say don't give them any help because it's wasteful, unnecessary, and excessive. People don't have jobs, right? They have been laid off of whatever thing you want to call it, but they don't have a job. They don't have a source of income. And politicians are saying that that's wasteful. To help them out is wasteful, unnecessary, and excessive. All right. I am not understanding why some politicians are willing to sacrifice hundreds, if not thousands of lives to death or irrevocable poverty. I don't get it. Why are they denying American citizens those things that would help folks hold on to make it through this turbulent time? And this is a turbulent time. A bit of research, though, may have revealed an answer. Let's walk the yellow brick road to take a look at the bigger historical picture, to get a peek behind the curtain of the possible reasons why some political figures are against helping their constituents and have been against helping their constituents for the last 76 years. The U.S. Bill of Rights was written on December 15, 1791. In the Declaration of Independence, primarily authored by Thomas Jefferson, the Second Continental Congress asserted the self-evident truths that all men are created equal and entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness will become important in a second. And I know you're saying, Deb, okay, why are you taking us through this history lesson? I'm taking you through this history lesson because to know what happened in the past can give you insight into what's happening today. And this has been happening for 76 years. The U.S. Bill of Rights expresses natural human rights or God-given rights that have no economic implications. No, nil, nine, nada, zilch, goose egg, no economic implications, such as free speech or freedom of religion. First rights of the Bill of Rights are political rights. They are our rights to life and liberty only. Everyone is entitled to first rights. A second Bill of Rights expresses rights that ought to be, that should be, but have economic implications, meaning if the government has to pay for it or enact laws that financially benefit we the people, that 90%, it's a no-go. It's a no-go for them to create laws that will enable every person to live a better life. The political fight that some politicians are waging against their own constituents is the continued denial of those rights. Second rights are economic rights, enabling the pursuit of things like happiness, like having somewhere to live, a job, food, education, and healthcare. Those basic things that can really put a smile on your face and make you happy. They make me happy. Here's a 2-minute video clip of FDR explaining the Second Bill of Rights. I'll see you on the other side.
In our day, certain economic truths have become accepted as self-evident. A second Bill of Rights, under which a new basis of security and prosperity can be established for all, regardless of station or race or creed. Among these are the right to a useful and remunerative job, the right to earn enough to provide adequate food and clothing and recreation, the right of every farmer to raise and sell his products at a return which will give him and his family a decent living, the right of every businessman, large and small, to trade in an atmosphere of freedom, freedom from unfair competition and domination by monopolies at home or abroad, the right of every family to a decent home, the right to adequate medical care, and the opportunity to achieve and enjoy good health, the right to adequate protection from the economic fears of old age, sickness, accident, and unemployment, the right to a good education. All of these rights spell security, and after this war is won, we must be prepared to move forward in the implementation of these rights to new goals of human happiness and well-being. For unless there is security here at home, there cannot be lasting peace in the world.
That speech was delivered by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in his State of the Union message to Congress on January 11, 1944. His speech laid out the bare facts, the political equality of first rights promised in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, even as it has been amended over the years, is not sufficient to produce equality, saying, these political rights proved inadequate to assure us equality in the pursuit of happiness. He was speaking of first rights, meaning that everyone is entitled to first rights. However, only those that are financially fit are entitled to first and second rights. Why are they entitled to second rights, Dad? They're entitled to second rights because they have the monetary means to do so. The pursuit of happiness is all about doing those things that will enrich and build your life, to live a life that you love and that you enjoy. But you need money to do that. FDR spoke those words some 76 years ago, and second rights or economic rights have been fought against every day, at every turn, that whole time. It's been 76 years. These are basic rights I believe most of us took for granted. We took for granted that we have a right to a decent home. We took for granted that we have a right to employment with a living wage that allows us to provide adequate food, clothing, and recreation for our families. We took for granted that we had the right to adequate medical care for good health. And we also took for granted that we had a right to a good education for our children. FDR also said, and I quote, "All of these rights spell security, and after this war is won, we must be prepared to move forward in the implementation of these rights to new goals of human happiness and well-being." And of course, if you hear that siren in the background, my bad. He was speaking of what the country needed to do for its citizens after World War II ended. The world has changed, but we find ourselves in the same situations as those Americans in 1944. Now, some 4 years later, on December the 10th, 1948, the United Nations General Assembly in Paris proclaimed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in a General Assembly Resolution 217, Article 25 of that resolution states basically all the same things that FDR said in 1944, and I quote, "Everyone has a right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care, and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond his control." End quote. COVID-19, anyone? So 2020 and the virus is definitely circumstances that were beyond our control. We are at war with COVID, and it's far from over. Americans gave up a lot during World War II to support the country. With the COVID war, we've given up a lot. We've sacrificed much, some way more than others. Now, it may not be the dirtiest job in the world, and if you haven't seen that show, check it out sometime. Very interesting. I'm thinking it must be one of, if not the best job in the world. What job is that? Being a politician. Politicians are the men and women that are trusted, that we trusted and believed under the impression that we were electing them to handle the business of doing what's best for us, their constituents. No matter what is going on in our country, high unemployment, poverty wages, police brutality, no health insurance, virus killing people, school children being massacred, political unrest, government shutdowns, government attacks, or attacks against certain groups of the citizens, they still get a paycheck every week. And I don't know if they get paid weekly or monthly, but whatever time frame that they get paid, they get a check. They don't worry about unemployment or living paycheck to paycheck. They don't worry about their utilities being shut off or getting evicted. They're not standing in food lines or waiting to be tested or vaccinated. None of that or any other craziness going on out there affects their standard of living that we paid them to freely enjoy their life under the Second Bill of Rights for the pursuit of their happiness. Yet all the while, they deny us the means to do the same. From the start of the pandemic, inequity was clear. Athletes, politicians, wealthy people, and those with connections got special treatment that included privileged access to testing and vaccines. There are some who were paying their doctors $25,000 plus to jump the line to get tested and or a shot before they were qualified. A few months ago, I could go down the street to the corner ER and get tested for $190. However, getting tested one time wouldn't really help me, would it? I could get tested and test negative and catch the virus 2 days later, but I wouldn't know it as I didn't have the cash to get tested again, as most of us don't have that kind of money. Now, they could afford the $25,000 and I ain't mad. And I couldn't afford the $190. But what happened to free anyway? It has become glaringly obvious the imbalance in privilege that exists between the rich and the poor. If you have hung out with me for these last few videos, I thank you very much. It's with deep, heartfelt gratitude that I do thank you for joining me on my journey of growth and transformation. Being without primary health care can be a stressful and scary situation, but we got this. We're going to hang in there together and get it done. I don't want anyone in their home gambling with their life because they don't have health care. This has to change. Universal health care is mandatory right now. I will continue to advocate for primary care for everyone and provide remedies to keep you healthy. So hit the like button if you'd like to support this channel. Hit the little red subscribe bell if you want to be notified when the next video is uploaded on how to be healthy, happy, and thrive without health insurance. Share this video if you know someone that it would interest. Our website is currently under construction, but you can go to empoweredge.org and sign up to get notified when it's up and running. So feel free to leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts, ideas, suggestions, or questions. I'll see you in the next video, part 4, all us. So know within yourself that all is well, and so it is. Until we meet again, I'm wishing you all peace, light, love, and health. See you in part 4.